Hello people, Jeff Hale here with Comprehensive Outdoors. I'm inviting you to my channel. This channel is made to help you become a more comprehensive hunter and fisher. And today we're going to talk about fly tying a particular pattern called the Gypsy King. And I don't know about you, but I am excited that the fishing ban is going to be lifted somewhat, and we're going to be able to go out and do some trout fishing on some rivers and some lakes. But the fly we're going to tie today is the Gypsy King. It's going to be a variation different than what you can buy. That's one of the benefits of being able to tie flies, is you can make flies in various configurations, colors, and sizes that you might not be able to buy at the fly shop. Today we're going to be tying these great big rubber leg bad boys with a red body. This is an amazing pattern. I caught a huge cutthroat on this last year, plus a bunch of other cutthroats between 15 and 18 inches, and I got one that was 22 inches, gigantic. Actually, it was a cut bow. My brother was using the same pattern. We tried Gypsy Kings in various colors, but the ones with the red bodies, big fat red bodies, seem to work the best. Let's check out how to tie this fly. Materials for today: we are using, for our hook, a Daiichi 1280 number 6, right? Dry fly hook, standard, down eye, straight shank. And then we're going to be using in the wing some pink, blue, and some metallic blue colored crystal flash. For the body, we're going to be using red ice dub. Also for the body, we're going to be using closed cell 2mm foam, fly tying foam. That's made by Hairline Dubbing. Of course, you're going to have some dubbing wax. We're going to have some elk hair. And we want to have ourselves a cape of either furnace or brown colored dry fly hackle, or you can use grizzly. When you build this fly, what you're trying to, this is going to be a big fly, right? And I'm not a person who fishes a lot of dry flies. If it takes smaller than a size 16, I'm pretty much out of the game and I'm not interested. I'll pitch streamers or something else. But I like to fish big dry flies. Big dry flies are fun, and these great big suckers here imitate a stonefly, an adult stonefly, like a Pteronarces californica is the name of them, or a hopper, or any large terrestrial or fly that lands in the water. And man, I'll tell you, if you're going fishing on the Yakima River or the Methow River or the Klickitat or any of the local rivers in Washington, this is a killer bug. So let's get started. Oh, by the way, like my shirt, I wanted to show my shirt. We got the duck hunting, we got the deer hunting, and we got the hook, right? Air, land, and sea. Boom. Okay. All right, people, here we go. Gonna put my hook in my vise. I'm gonna go ahead and pinch that barb down. I'm gonna throw this guy in there. I'm gonna put those on, take my hat off, and get serious. I'm using Danville 140 denier, red thread. I'm gonna go ahead and tie in, work it back to the back. The next part of the fly, because I like a segmented body, and this is not in the normal pattern, I'm gonna tie in some wire because I think a segmentation in the body looks cool and it helps the fly be more durable, right? We build flies, we don't just tie them. I'm gonna go ahead and take this silver, lash this sucker in here, work it all the way to the back. Next, I'm gonna take my UV, red ice dub, UV. I actually think it makes a difference. And I'm gonna take my wax. I'll wax this up real good, both sides. You can throw a dubbing loop if you want. You can split your thread, or you can just make dubbing noodles. Okay, so I got the dubbing noodle going here, and I'm gonna go ahead and I have a rotary vise, so I can just actually work this back. I always have my rotary vise a little tight because I don't like it to slip on me. And then once I can get control, and notice that when you get like this and you're trying to build up a thick body, it's okay to work that dubbing each time you take a wrap. Keep it tight. So I am dubbing a pretty fat body. I got a little bit more to go. I'm gonna come to about the 2/3 mark. Get another dubbing noodle going. Dub, 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 dub. And you want your body to be thinner from the back, thicker to the front. And I'm gonna stop about right there. Now I'm gonna take my silver wire, and I'm gonna put in some segmentation, just because the real bugs actually have segmented bodies, and the silver wire picks up a little bit of light, and it keeps my dubbing noodle tight. Boom, cross that over, catch it, make a couple of wraps, pull it back, make a couple of wraps, take my scissors that not my favorite scissors, they're my junk scissors, and cut that off. Okay, you got your closed cell foam. You want to trim off a skinny piece, not too fat, about 1/4 of an inch wide and maybe 1.5 inches long. And you want to see how that looks on that fly. All right, great. So what I'm going to do is right here at the 2/3 mark, I am going to say, you know what, I think that's about the right distance, and I'm going to catch it. And I'm just going to do that for right now. Now, I don't want this thing to come undone. Boom. This is where I grab my super glue. I come in here and I throw a little dot of super glue in there. Flip it over on the other side, throw another dot. All right, let's set that aside because we're going to use it again in a minute. Okay. This is all just kind of raw. We'll clean this up and make it look better later. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in some crystal flash for the underwing. Okay, I've prepared some metallic blue barred crystal flash along with some pink, and I've got the edges cut smooth. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna catch those, and I'm just gonna tie them in tight, and they're gonna flare. Watch, they flare all over the place. I don't care at this moment. It's okay that they flare. If you want, at this point, you can come in here and cut them about the same length as your foam, but that's fine. Okay, now, what am I gonna put on top of that? Well, we're gonna use poly yarn, and then we're gonna use elk hair. Let's check out the poly yarn. Here's the poly yarn. Some people call it Antron. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take four bits of it. So I'm gonna fold it over. So now I got 2, and then watch. I'm gonna catch it in the middle and fold it over again. So I lay it here, catch, fold it this way, catch, and I'm not worrying about building up too much bulk, but take that guy right now. You're gonna want to trim it just a hair longer than your crystal flash and on a slant, so you get that kind of an underwing. All right, so not only that, it adds a little buoyancy. You put some floatant on that along with this foam, along with floatant on the body. This thing will float a long time, catch a lot of fish. Okay, the next step that we have to do is tie our elk hair wing on top of this. So I always cut a little more off the hank than I need, because when I preen it and I pull out the underfibers and guard hairs and all that other stuff, what I'm left with is just about the right amount. So I'm gonna take about that much, right? That looks like a lot. Like that's gonna be a big heavy wing, right? And what I'm gonna do is come in here, I'm gonna start cleaning out the butts, and then I'm gonna get my hair stacker, okay? This old school hair stacker. Stick the tips in like this, okay? Drop them in, put your finger over, tamp them, and when you pull it off, all the hairs are nice and even. Hey, how about that? So I'm gonna grab them by the tips, and then I'm gonna clean them a little bit more, because I got some short hairs, some long hairs in here, and then I'm saying, hey, how long do I want this thing? And I want these hairs actually to be about just a little bit longer than the foam body, and a little bit, about the same length or a little bit longer than the Antron underneath it. Let's see, I kinda want it right about there. I'm gonna catch all these butts, pull them down. Now watch, this hair is gonna flare like crazy, and that's okay. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is I'm gonna fix it in just a minute. What we want is that hair to be locked down and captured, especially when you're tying stuff with foam. The materials have a tendency to want to flip around the hook, and so that's why we use a lot of glue, we use a lot of tension, we use strong thread. Okay, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna trim some of these hairs a little bit shorter. Just clean it up. All right, take my super glue, and I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna put a dollop of it right at the base of this hair. I'm gonna come in here and wax my thread. Take some more of the red UV ice dub. I have a chunk here, but it's got some junk in it. Okay, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make a little dubbing noodle. And the reason I'm doing this is to cover up my tracks of what I've been doing here by tying in the deer hair and making a mess. So I'm gonna make this a little bit neater, and watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use the dubbing, and I'm gonna crawl up onto the deer hair and I'm gonna lightly wrap it. And look what that did. It made that hair stick back nice, okay? That's what I want. When the trout comes up from underneath, that looks like the wings fluttering on a stonefly. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our legs, and we're using black silly legs with blue sparkles in them. It doesn't matter, you can use white silly legs, you can use just regular black silly legs, you can use them thick, you can use them thin. I just like these because literally a breath of air will cause these to jiggle and move. So, you're gonna have 2 legs on each side. So I take one of these like this, cut that guy in half, and now I'm going to place it where I want it. And I'm gonna look and say, is that where I want that? Let's see, yep, that's about right, that's where I want that. By the way, you can substitute a lot of these materials for what you just have. The most important thing is you want the size and the silhouette correct, and you want that red body on this particular one. I've also seen them with green iced up bodies, and I've seen them with peacock curl bodies, or just with a brown dub like hare's ear color body. They all work great, but for whatever reason, this red bodied one has been on fire lately for me. So unfortunately, I can't find them to buy them either. So if you get in a bind, you'll only have what you have tied. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to tie in a big old furnace hackle. This is the guy I'm gonna use. See, I don't want this fluff right here. I'm gonna peel that off. But I do want some of these longer webby ones at the bottom. So I'm gonna come in here, again, capture this, wrap, 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 wrap. Man, I'm really making sure that hackle's locked in here, and then check this out. I'm even gonna fold the stem back over and catch it again. Now you could never get away with doing this tying a little tiny dry fly, but you're tying a monster dry fly. So you can bend that hackle stem back over, make sure it gets caught really well, and then pull it out and trim it. I wanna make sure I get the hackle, it's right there, boom. Okay, now I'm gonna take this and I am going to start to palmer, and I'm gonna start back towards the wing. I'm gonna do a full wrap back towards the wing, okay? And then I'm gonna come forward and I'm gonna fill up the space. All right. What I'm gonna do is lift the foam up, bring this hackle in front, and catch the hackle on the hook in front. Bend everything back, catch it, and now I'm gonna trim that hackle off. Okay, here's what we got. Now, you can see the bottom of that fly. Okay, so we got the red body, we got the foam, we got all this hackle in the middle. Now what we need to do is build a red colored ice dub head, and then we're gonna pull this foam over the top. Make a dubbing noodle on there, and go ahead and start to wrap in front. Is get back here, and I want this foam to stand up. So see how I'm hackling back here? I'm kind of jacking that foam up a little bit. There we go. And then I want to leave space at the head. I'm going to take this piece of foam, I'm going to pull it over tight, and I'm going to catch it. And then I'm going to take some wraps, and then I'll take a couple just in front of the eye, and then back again over the top of the foam. And I'm going to finish it on the foam. 1, 2, 3, boom. Let's just do another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Boom. All right. So this is what we got. This giant thing. Let's clean it up a little bit and make it look good. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this head, and I'm going to take that head and I'm going to square it off and make it look correct. So I'm going to square it off first, and then I'm just going to round the edges a little bit. A hopper or an ant-shaped head. There you go. You can kind of see what that looks like. Okay, now the back, right? We got this back part of this fly right here. And right now it's just a rectangle, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make that come to a point. So go ahead and pull all these materials out of the way. So it looks like that. All right, so I'm gonna check my leg length. Let's see, I'm gonna put this back in the vise for my leg length check. I want my legs pretty long on this, so I'm gonna grab all my front legs. I'm gonna pull them forward, and I'm gonna say, you know what, I want them all to be about that long. And down, and then I want my back legs to be a little bit longer than my front legs, and I'm gonna check the length back here. Pull all these guys back, and there's just one that's a little bit too long, so I'm gonna trim that guy off. Right there. All right, let's see what that looks like. Okay, take a look at that thing from the top. You see that thing? Man. That is a bug that will catch them. All right. Final thing we're gonna do, you know, and some people are like, why are you gonna do that, Jeff? You're gonna ruin the fly. You see all this hackle here? What happens is it's gonna cause that fly to ride like that on the water, and I don't. I want these stoneflies to be right in the surface film. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pair of scissors, actually my good pair, and I'm gonna come in here to this hackle, and I'm gonna cut a notch in a V, or even make it a little bit flat. And then I'm gonna look at it head on, cut a little bit more. All right, now, I'm tying these flies to fish. I'm not tying these flies that look great, although I don't think they look bad. I think they look pretty good. But because I've trimmed that hackle off, when you look, these still look like legs. These still help stabilize the fly, the hackle, but that fly will sit right down flat in the surface film, just like a real stonefly will. Gives a much better silhouette, and especially in slow water or slower water. So that's it. That's how you tie the red-bodied Gypsy King. If this was helpful for you, please like and subscribe. Take care.